across Leicester and across the world. This is Demon FM.
The Rush Hour on 107.5 Demon FM.
Hello, this is Iain Buckland. I'm joined on the phone by Caroline Bowditch, who is one of the directors, I believe, for the Scottish Dance Theatre. Is that right?
I'm one of the directors of one of the pieces that's currently in the rep for Scottish Dance Theatre, yeah.
Well, could you tell me a bit kind of what Scottish Dance Theatre is actually all about then?
Sure. Scottish Dance Theatre is the leading contemporary dance company in Scotland, and it's been in existence for over 20 years and has grown out of Dundee Rep Theatre. It was originally established as a dance company connected to the theatre, obviously, and has now become a very reputable company throughout the UK. We tour nationally and internationally, have a really strong creative learning program that sits alongside, obviously, the artistic program, as well as doing all sorts of interesting outreach projects.
Now, you're heading to the Curve here in Leicester. Oh, it's the 28th and 29th of May, isn't it?
Yeah, so we're there Friday and Saturday night.
Yes, and you're actually doing two shows, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
Could you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, sure. The program contains two pieces. One called The Life and Times of Gurule, which was choreographed by a London-based choreographer called Ben Duke, and NQR, which is a piece that I've co-directed with fellow disabled choreographer and dancer Mark Brew, and also SDT's artistic director Janet Smith. I've
got in front of me here that Not Quite Right is what NQR stands for.
That's right.
Being an acronym formerly used in the medical records to describe unexplained difference.
Yeah, until patients could get access to their records in 1988, it was something that was fairly frequently used.
Right, okay. So is that something that's reflected within like the storyline of the show? Yeah,
we're hoping that the piece allows people to think and look at differently, and Mark and I are both disabled performers, which obviously makes our difference very obvious.
Right.
But for lots of the other dancers, basically what the piece is exploring is this idea about the fact that we're all different. We all carry differences, but many of them we can conceal, and sometimes we control our behaviour in order to kind of not show them. And it also looks at the ways that we are kind of pigeonholed by society, or we like to be almost split into categories in terms of where we sit. So it explores that thing about the ways that we're desperately trying to be similar to others, but also the ways that we're also incredibly different from each other.
Now, obviously, you don't want to give too much away, but how do you stage a show like that?
Hopefully, NQR is has a few surprises up its sleeve. We worked with a fantastic set designer called Naomi Wilkinson. Our costumes are a bit not quite right, which will be obvious for people when they come to see the show. We've got interesting lighting, and we've used the idea of boxing and being boxed in, not fitting the box, and we've kind of used some of those concepts in putting the piece together as well.
Can you give us a bit more on the other show, The Life and Times of a Girl?
Yeah, Life and Times of Gurule is a fantastic piece that involves quite a lot of text and dialogue, and basically it's a story that is, ideally, it's supposed to be a film, but it's about a woman, and she plays the director of the show, and she really wanted to make a film, but she talks about the fact that there was no budget, so they had to make it as a dance piece instead. And rather than actors, she's got dancers, and so it's all a bit haywire from the beginning. But it's a fantastic piece that is just a feast for the eyes. It's got lots of amazing costumes and great dancing, and it's got a fantastic soundtrack, and a very, very strong kind of leading lady plays the main character.
How do you stage two shows? Are they kind of separate to each other, or do they combine in some way?
No, not at all. I mean, they sit very well beside each other, but they're two completely different pieces. So the first, Gurule, has got a very different set. Our technical team have to lay a specific floor for Gurule. It involves sliding panels that are are used throughout the show. It's got a very different lighting state to NQR. The costumes, the dancers have quite elaborate makeup for Gurule and these incredible hairdos, whereas NQR is much more understated from that perspective, and we have a very different set. And of course the lighting is completely different, and we have live music rather than recorded music. And obviously the choreographic style of any choreographer is going to be different. So it's different from that perspective as well. And the other thing that happened was that Ben solely made Gurule, so he was the one making all the kind of choreographic decisions for his piece. And NQR was a collaboration between Mark, Janet and myself. So we had a very different process to go through in negotiating and trying to, I suppose, create a story that meant or said what we all wanted it to say.
Now, I understand this is Scottish Dance Theatre's first visit to the Curve here.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see the place you'll be performing so far, or? No,
I haven't seen it. I'm involved with the Foundation for Community Dance, who are also based in Leicester. So I've been to Leicester, but I haven't been to this theatre, and obviously no one in the company has actually seen Curve, but it sounds fascinating.
Is that not a challenge then? Obviously, your show is on at the end of this week, to have not seen the environment that you will be staging it in.
I think the lovely thing about Scottish Dance Theatre is that dancers, we have to become incredibly flexible. Our technical team are fantastic at trying to create a space that is familiar to us within whatever space they've got to work within. And we, in touring all over Scotland and all over the UK, we perform in everything from tiny weeny town halls or really small community-type centres through to massive theatres like Edinburgh Festival Theatre, for example. So we just have to kind of work with what we've got, and that's part of the challenge and the joy as well, is you never quite know what you're going to find.
The Scottish Dance Theatre will be at the Curve on Friday the 28th and Saturday the 29th of May. It sounds very interesting, two very different but equally interesting sounding productions going on at once there.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the thing that if people have never seen contemporary dance before, I feel like these two pieces are quite a nice introduction. I would recommend everyone, obviously, to come and see it. Come and check it out.
Thank you very much for talking to me, Caroline.
It's a pleasure, Iain. Thank you so much.
And I wish you luck for the show tonight, of course, and then the two in Leicester later this week.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks again.
Okay, thank you.
Falling in love with us? Carry on checking us out at DemonFM.co.uk.